It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 116. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, February 16th, 2025. A great day to podcast about video games and be alive. So welcome to the show. I hope you're doing great out there in the world. Hope everything's been going your way. I hope it's been a very lucky week. I hope great things have been happening to you. And thank you for being here for another episode to talk about some video games. But the first order of business, I'm going to ask you to do something. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. So hopefully anywhere you want to listen to a podcast, you are going to find Dep Lewis Show. Twitch.tv/Dep Lewis Show is a great place to follow. I've been trying to get on a stream schedule, so I am going to quit. I'm going to quit committing to what that's going to be until I just get on the schedule. But I did some streaming yesterday for a couple hours, so it's seeming like Saturday might be a good time too, along with a weeknight. So we're going to see. I'm trying to get a weeknight on the books. Maybe Wednesday or Thursday is the plan. So just check me out on twitch.tv/Dep Lewis Show. I'm starting to play some more games live on the internet, and it's been fun, but I need to get on a schedule. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available. If you'd like to subscribe monthly, also Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. So for today's episode, episode 116, as always, it's going to have three sections. The first section, I'll tell you about what video games I've been playing since I've last talked to you on the microphone. The second section is the mid section. It's not mid in quality, it's the middle. And in that section, I tell you about what's going on around the video game world. So all the news, happenings, releases, rumors, speculation, everything you need to know is in the mid section of the show each week. And the third section is a break from video games, the Miscellaneous talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So usually get into the worldwide world of sports and take you on my fan journey through my favorite teams, and that it will be the case today as always. So welcome to the show. Let's get the show started. As a group called the Black Eyed Peas once said, let's get it started in here. All right, what video games have I been playing? I've been playing Splatoon 3, one of the best video games of all time, a Dep Lewis Show Game of the Year award winner, and there was a Splatfest last weekend, and the question was, are you team, what's your favorite chocolate? Are you team white chocolate? Are you team dark chocolate? Are you team milk chocolate? And I gotta say, and I don't think it was just me saying this, I think everyone who watched would say that I fought very valiantly for the dark chocolate squad, and we tried our best. We tried to represent the dark chocolate, the delicious dark chocolate, and we failed. White chocolate was the winner. Jason Williams is out there very, very happy, throwing incredible passes and cheering on the white chocolate team, and they won the Splatfest. But the Splatfest was a great time. I am reminded about the connection errors when you play online. No matter your internet or situation, I think you're going to get some disconnects in online Splatoon, but it is still an outstanding, wonderful, excellent video game when it's working correctly, and that is probably about 80% of the time. So I had a lot of fun playing in the Splatfest, and I will plan to do so in the next one. And actually, I played some Splatoon 3 yesterday, streaming on Twitch. So I played for a couple hours and had a lot of fun. And I did not have any disconnects until the very last. I was like, I'm going to play one more game, and in that game, it disconnected twice. I think one of the disconnects was because a person left. I think that's a common thing. And then another one was just kind of a random error. Or they might have both been because of people leaving. So who knows? But it was unusual that I didn't have any the whole day. And then at the end of the day, last game I played, I had a couple of them. So who knows what's going on with the Splatoon. But it's still very fun. It's very quick to get back into a match. And the matches are very quick themselves. So I think that's kind of why it's never really been too big of an issue. But it is an apparent thing. You see it. I think you see it pretty frequently if you're an online Splatoon 3 player. But it's a wonderful video game. That's the only thing I really wanted to report there was who won the Splatfest, and that I streamed some yesterday on twitch.tv/Dep Lewis Show. So I had a lot of fun with that. And I also streamed and restarted, not that I've completed, but I started a new file just to retrain myself on what's going on with the video game, and that is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So I think if there was a counter for Dep Lewis Show podcast of how many times I said, hey, I've never completed a Zelda game. I think that's got to be one of the top things said. So I've never completed a Zelda game. I've played mostly every single Zelda game, probably almost all of them, 90% of them. I've never completed one. I would like to do so, and this is my latest foray into trying to complete a Zelda game. So I've started Breath of the Wild. I've been doing some shield surfing, so I've been figuring that out. I've been having a little more fun with the mobility around the world, so that's been enjoyable. But I'm early on. I'm going to seek the Divine Beast now. I'm going to start with the Zora, because I read that that is the path of least resistance. So I'm going to plan to use a strategy guide. I just need to wave the white flag and I'm going to use strategy guides a lot. It's going to be the year of the strategy guide here on the Dep Lewis Show. So that is not true, but it is a possibility, because that would be a great thing to do. It's going to help me through some of these video games and alleviate some pressure on my own self of trying to figure out what's going on with them. But Zelda early on, I'm still just going through the intro. I got the paraglider. I'm now in the open world. I'm making my way to the Zora, going between the dueling peaks and having some fun in the open world. So we will see how far I can get. Friend of the show, Pab, did mention that this is one of the longer Zelda games out there to try to complete, so that might not be the smartest move on my part. So, maybe next week I will be playing another Zelda game or not playing Zelda at all. That's why you need to listen here on the Dep Lewis Show, because it's mysterious here in the first section of what I've been playing. So those have been the main things I've been playing this week, actually. I've been dipping my toe into some other games as well in the year of no direction, where I can just play whatever I want, no genre, no fuss, no fight, no nothing. And so I've definitely been playing a lot of retro stuff still on a retro kick. Been watching a lot of retro YouTube channels. I've been going to a local game store here and checking out their stuff, and it's been a fun trip down the retro lane, and it's a cool way to pick up some video games. So I've also been playing some Pokemon Pearl, been playing some Contra. Contra's really been one that's sticking out. I think if I was making my game of the year decisions right now, Contra would be up there on favorite game from a prior year. So I've been playing a lot of Contra. I've got the first level, I don't want to say mastered, but I know the whole layout of the first level. I'd say 98% of the time. I can frequently get to the end of the first level and still have my two hits left, and I'll get another one for ending the level. So I can go into the third level with three hits available to take. And then I've also used the save functionality and created a save at the beginning of level 2, so I can practice from there if I want to. So it's been really fun. It's a quick game to get in and out of. You die very frequently if you are not good at it, like myself, and it is extremely fun. So that's one I've been having a great retro journey trip with. And something else that I picked up this week is a retro handheld console. I guess you can call it retro. And it's a Game Boy Advance SP. And I picked this up, and I also got Yoshi's Island with it, which I was not anticipating, but I wanted to pick up a game with it. It was definitely a need, because I wanted to try out the console to see if it works. It was being sold as cosmetically damaged, and it was really just it's just kind of I don't know, it looks like it almost got, not like burned, but it's just a little bit of discoloring on the outside of the console. So nothing too serious, and it all runs great and works great, and the buttons are fine. So no real big issue there. And it doesn't look like there's like dirt on it. It's just kind of like a faded, it's a black SP, and it's just kind of like some faded sections on the paint of it or whatever. So nothing too bad. And it's actually a 101 version, which if you're trying to pick up a Game Boy Advance SP, the little bit of skinny that I haven't played one of these consoles in a long time. So picking up some of these retro stuff, you have to relearn some things. But with the Game Boy Advance SP, there are two versions, I believe. There is a 001, that is the more common one, and there's a 101. So you can look on the back of the console for these numbers, and that will indicate which model version it is. And the 001, that's the most common one. The 101 is a brighter screen, I think is the main detail there that's different. So if you want to look for the better of the two, you want to look for the 101. They're more expensive and I guess harder to find. And I don't really know, I can't say at this point if the 001 how much different it is, but I would like to see at one point so I could compare. So I didn't really even know this one was the 101 when I was purchasing it. It was just being sold as cosmetically damaged. So I was like, okay, the price was a little bit lowered, so I picked it up. And it was just happenstance and a very lucky thing that it was a 101 when I got home and started investigating it. So when I first booted it up, I'm like, man, this screen does look really good. I can imagine it looking better, but I was like, this is really, really impressive of how it looks. And I guess that is the 101 difference there on the Game Boy Advance SP. So very cool pickup. Something I've been playing Yoshi's Island on it, which has been fun. A game I've never really played, and I guess is the spiritual successor to Mario World. and it's extremely fun. And I really love Yoshi, so this has been a great game to play. I'm on the first world still. I think I just completed the first mid castle. It lets you save after every game, so some of these old consoles and old games you have to relearn. Like there's not as complete like places to save, and you have to worry about stuff like that. I was playing Mario Brothers 3 recently, and on the NES, and there are no save states in that game, so you have to just run through the whole game at one time. So there's a lot of big differences and a lot of quality of life improvements that come along with video games these days that you might not realize if you haven't jumped back into the retro world in a while. So that's kind of what I've been playing this week. Been a lot of fun stuff. It's been fun to play that Game Boy. It really is a handheld console. I think that's the cool part about it. It's extremely small. It really does fit in your pocket. It's smaller than your cell phone almost at this point, and doesn't weigh a lot. It's very simple, and I think that's pretty nice about it. So I'm going to enjoy kind of seeing what games I can get on there, maybe complete some games I never have before, like I'm doing with Yoshi's Island. So I'm very fun with that, and that's kind of what I've been playing this week. So I'm playing some Splatoon 3 and some Zelda Breath of the Wild, and then still on a retro kick playing things like Pokemon Pearl, Contra, and Yoshi's Island. So there's no telling what I'll be playing next week, but hopefully I can keep continuing making some Zelda progress, and I think I'm going to keep up with the Splatoon 3, especially with the recent streaming I've been trying to do. I think that's kind of my main game I'm going to be streaming is Splatoon 3, and then playing some other things as well. But I'm going to have that in my mind as if I can't decide what to play, I'll just get on there and play some Splatoon 3 because I've been having a whole lot of fun with that and getting back into the groove of playing some online matches on there. So it's super fun, and that's everything I've been playing this week. That's all my personal video game talk in the year of no direction. Been having some fun out here playing some video games, and that is going to wrap up this section. So we're going to listen to some quick break music. We're going to come back from the midsection of the show where I'm going to tell you about everything that's going on around the video game world, everything you need to know. Sony had a state of play in the last week, so I'm going to tell you all about that, and that is the main source of information and always exciting thing to talk about. So come back for the midsection after this music. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 116. This is where I tell you about what's going on around the video game world that you need to know. And Sony last week decided to have a state of play to give us some video game information. So this took place on February 12th. It was around 40 minutes long, showing off different video games, news and updates on great games coming to PS5. The show celebrates a creative and unique selection of exciting games from studios around the world. So my initial take on this show after watching it was there was not a lot of first-party stuff shown. I don't know why I was going into this thinking they were going to show off some Wolverine, but I don't really know if they showed off too much of first-party at all besides a remaster. So I think this was a little bit of an underwhelming show. We got some dates that are interesting to me. There's a few games in here that are interesting to me. There was one that was kind of a surprise, and then just some other stuff that I think has some question marks on it, and I would like to see maybe more in the future, but not an immediate excitement for seeing some of these games. And some of them kind of blend together. Some different kind of names out here, so a lot of stuff going on this state of play. There was a lot of games talked about, so I always like to say, go, if you want to go watch this for yourself, I would recommend to do so. Go check out Sony on their YouTube channel, and you can watch through the video of this and actually see the footage of the games and things like that, and the presentation, which is always just a fun experience to watch these things, and you're watching them hoping you're going to get some type of exciting announcement. And I gotta say, this one was a little bit of a letdown generally to me, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of great games in here, and we are going to talk about them. So I'm going to tell you the bits of news from this I think are most exciting to me. And the first one would be Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. That's a video game that I plan on purchasing day one this year. It's one of the few games from 2025 that I want to purchase day one. And that, in this game, I think it was last week we were talking about a rumored release date. And now the release date for this game has been officially confirmed to be August 28th, 2025. They're also teasing an Ape Escape collaboration in there, which they show some footage of that. So I think that's interesting. I don't know too much about Ape Escape besides it's a historic PlayStation franchise, and I played Astrobot last year, which was the game of the year for the Dep Lewis Show, and Ape Escape was in Astrobot. So I think it's a cool link between Astrobot and some of these new collaborations and new games coming out. Maybe it could revive some things. So I think that is a cool and smart thing. But Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater coming out August 28th, 2025. That is the news. The standard edition is going to be $69.99 US. The core experience of the original evolved and more immersive than ever is what they're saying. A remake of the 2004 game Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater with the same gripping story and engrossing world, now with all new graphics and 3D audio that enhance the jungle atmosphere. Get ready for the ultimate survival stealth action experience. So I'm definitely excited for this. I've never played Metal Gear 3. I've only played Metal Gear 4, and I've actually completed that. I would like to play more in the Metal Gear series, but I think this is going to be a good kind of retro jump back point of getting a retro game remade, and hopefully it's going to be the best way to play the game. And so that is I'm going to have a date with Metal Gear August 28th, 2025 to play Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, so very excited about that. All right, what else did they show in this show? Borderlands 4, something I have some apprehension about, but I have had some fun with Borderlands in the past. Everything I've seen from this one is looking pretty cool for the most part in terms of gameplay, and they have confirmed the release date for this. So it's going to be September 23rd, 2025, so about a month apart from Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. They showed a new trailer for Borderlands 4, developer Gearbox Software. Also, there will be a Borderlands 4 themed state of play arriving later in the spring. So they are really, putting their, I don't know what the phrase is. They're putting their eggs in the basket on Borderlands 4 here. They're making it a big deal, and hopefully it's going to live up to that hype. Borderlands 4 is going to bring intense action, vault hunters, and billions of wild and deadly weapons to an all-new planet ruled by a ruthless tyrant. And I think from watching this, I don't know if it's a criticism, but I think one of the things that turns me off, and maybe turns some people off, is Borderlands, I think maybe tries a little bit too much recently to be cool. And that's what I was kind of thinking of. Like they do some cursing in there. They try to, some of the characters from the past haven't landed, like that whole Tiny Tina fiasco from back in the day. And it's like some of their stuff is not landing, and I was kind of thinking, I think that's maybe the source of it. It's like they should just kind of make a good video game, and they're trying to have some personality, but I think maybe the personality of it is just a little bit off-putting. But I think that's kind of the only bad vibe I'm getting from Borderlands 4. So hopefully the gameplay will be fun. I don't really play too many cooperative games these days, so I think this game's going to be kind of built for that, if the past games are any indication. But I think I think it is a tall order trying to get everybody back on board with Borderlands, and I don't know if they're going in the complete right direction besides the way the game looks and plays, but I think maybe some of the character stuff and the dialogue and just kind of the vibe or tone of the game might not be what people are looking for. But we are going to see, and we are going to see on September 23rd, 2025. All right, I think this game was shown once before from when I was reading, but I don't know if I have taken too much of a note of it. It might have just said like, hey, this series is coming back, but Shinobi Art of Vengeance is a new video game that's going to release on August 29th for PlayStation 5 and 4. I don't know if it's releasing for other consoles at this point, but it has been confirmed. August 29th, PS5 and 4 for Shinobi Art of Vengeance. This game's going to be $29.99 US for the standard edition, so it's always nice to see some variety in price points on video games, and not having a full price $69.99 is nice to have in the mix. So $29.99 US for the standard edition, and $39.99 US for the deluxe edition. And I find it interesting with this one that you can play the game 3 days early with the deluxe edition. So I don't know if this has been a trend with, I don't want to call them smaller games, but non-full price games. I don't know if they're generally doing this 3 days of early access thing that a lot of the AAA giant video games are doing. So I don't know if this is a trend that all video games are going to be going this way in the future. Everything's going to have a 3-day window. And I think this is I don't think this is a good trend. I don't know if it affects me, or you necessarily, because you can choose not to do it. But the thing I find unusual is it's expensive to pay the extra for the 3 days early, and it's 3 days of your life. And a lot of times the video game's getting patched early on in its life cycle, and you might be playing the video game at its worst state from when it's been released. Right at release is, for a lot of these modern games, is not the best version of the video game. So you're paying extra to get in there, and it might not even be the best version of the game that people 3 days later are going to play. So I think it's a little bit of a gamble. If you're excited to do so, I think it's fine. But it's just, and I guess if it's your favorite franchise, you want to pay the money regardless. So, maybe it's a nice option if it is some video game you're really interested in, but it just never really seems worth it. And I don't know. I don't know what I fully think. Well, I guess I kind of know what I fully think about it, but just something interesting. I think it's one of the first times I've seen this with a smaller video game, or not a full price release game, doing the 3 days of early access. So I'm going to be looking for that in the future. But Shinobi Art of Vengeance looks extremely cool. Developer is Sega and Lizard Cube. They are touting in this, the iconic Shinobi returns in an all-new 2D action platformer with a unique hand-drawn look created by the team behind the hit brawler Streets of Rage 4. Play as legendary Shinobi Joe Musashi, master of the ninja arts. After finding your village burned to the ground and your clan turned into stone, you must set off on a quest for vengeance, ready to face an unparalleled evil and avenge your clan. So we've had a lot of Ninja Gaiden talk, or Gaiden talk. This year we have a couple of those games coming, one in the side-scroller fashion, and this game kind of looks similar to that and looks extremely cool. So I don't have any history with the Shinobi franchise, but from watching the trailer on this, I think they're selling this game extremely well, especially to even new fans of the series and hopefully to old fans as well. So this one looks very, very cool, and I think was a highlight from the Sony State of Play that we were talking about right now. All right, the next game I want to talk about, I'm a little iffy on this name here, and I'm a little iffy with how it was presented, but I guess it comes off mysterious, and that might be a cool thing. And this game is called Saros. I guess that's how you pronounce it, Saros. It is Housemarque's next game after Returnal. So Returnal was their game from 2021. That was pretty much a Game of the Year contender for a lot of people. A lot of people love that video game. And this new game called Saros, I hope that's how you pronounce it, is set to arrive on PS5 in 2026. So this was kind of the big, I guess overall, just from the zeitgeist or reading the internet, this was everyone's most hyped up reveal from the show because of the love for Returnal, and just something I've never really played. I've never played Returnal. I've watched some footage of it. It looks cool, and I'm definitely a fan of some roguelite stuff, but just something I've never put my hands on. But Saros is going to be the evolution of Housemarque's gameplay first experience. After Returnal, this is what they're saying in a quote talking about the game. After Returnal, we knew we had created something special and award-winning, but we also knew we wanted Returnal to stand on its own. With this in mind, we decided to create a new IP which involves our third-person action and mysterious storytelling. Saros is an action game with the haunting story of a lost off-world colony on Carcosa under an ominous eclipse. You play as Arjun Devraj, a powerful Saltari enforcer who will stop at nothing to find who he is looking for. Our goal is to create an emotional and powerful character study that explored the cost it takes to create a new future in Saros. So it's going to, they're saying it's going to be a gameplay first experience, and I think that's what you should expect here. And something I would be interested to see more of, but something that didn't not immediately suck me in. And I think the name's a little bit mysterious, but maybe in the future the name will hold a lot of weight, something that everyone respects greatly as a video game. So Saros is Housemarque's next game, set to arrive on PS5 sometime in 2026. And then the last game that piqued my interest from the Sony State of Play was the Days Gone Remastered that was announced. This is going to release on PS5 April 25th, 2025. Step into the dirt-flecked shoes of former outlaw biker Deacon St. John and feel his desperate struggle for survival in a brutal open world ravaged by feral creatures known as freakers. This first released in 2019, Days Gone did. The developer has been Studio. Players who already own the PS4 version of Days Gone will be able to upgrade to this new version for $10. So I never played Days Gone from back in the day. This definitely was a cool looking trailer and makes me a little more interested in trying this game. So I don't even know. I might go pick up the PS4 version and play that. I think a lot of times these upgraded versions aren't really worth it. And if you can get the PS4 version or the original version on a discount, I think oftentimes that's the best route to go. But this is something that I'm going to put on my radar. I like some post-apocalyptic stuff. I like some zombies. I like riding around on a motorcycle. So I think there's a lot of stuff in this game that would trip my trigger and something that I've just never played. So I think that is a cool remaster. A lot of people, or you can criticize Sony for remastering games that have been released recently, and I think I was criticizing that a little bit too with saying you can just play the PS4 version still, but either way, you have the option of playing the old one still. You can play this new one if you want to, so having the options I don't think is terrible, but then people can also argue they can possibly be allocating these resources to other things, but they're not going to be able to appease everybody all at once, and no one will be ever able to do that. So this is their stab at it. So I think it looks cool. The Days Gone Remastered has been announced. All right, they showed a lot of other games in this show. Other games shown were Onimusha: Way of the Sword, another trailer for that. That game's not coming until 2026. They have a remaster of Onimusha 2 coming out this year, so that's looking very cool. Tides of Annihilation was talked about, Mind's Eye, Warrior's Abyss. So a lot of games in here that some interesting stuff shown, but I think these games have a lot to prove. Sonic Racing Crossworlds look cool, but I've never played a Sonic Racing game. I'm a Mario Kart person and don't even really play that too often, but Sonic Racing Crossworlds looks like a cool release. Stellar Blade getting some updates. Liza P Overture, that definitely looked really cool. I never played Liza P1, but this is some type of prequel, I believe, and I think that is going to be coming out this year is what they're saying. So that definitely looked very interesting to me and was a cool trailer. So Lies of P Overture, WWE 2K25 showing off, a game called Metal Eden, Lost Soul Aside. They showed off some Monster Hunter Wilds and a little bit of a spring content update or a free update they have shown. So Monster Hunter Wilds releases on the 28th of this month in February, and they're already showing a little bit of the pre-release content that you're going to get for free. So some of that stuff is okay. I don't think anything earth-shattering. They showed off Split Fiction, which is a pretty interesting looking game that we've seen before a few times. So showing off more of Split Fiction. They showed off Directive 8020, Dreams of Another, Darwin's Paradox, which was an interesting looking game. It looked a little bit like Splatoon there. Been on the Splatoon kick, so there's some ink stuff going on and some water creatures. And they showed off the Midnight Walk, Yakuza Like a Dragon is getting a Dave the Diver crossover, or Dave the Diver is getting a Yakuza Like a Dragon Ichiban crossover. They showed off a game called Hell Is Us, Digimon Story Time Stranger, which actually looked pretty cool as someone who's more of a Pokemon fan but likes the Digimon theme song from back in the day. And they showed off Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic. So a lot of stuff shown off in here. And the kind of games I'm talking about that I don't have a lot of immediate reaction to or even previous knowledge would be like Tides of Annihilation, Mind's Eye, Warrior's Abyss, Metal Eden, Lost Soul Aside, Directive 8020, Dreams of Another, Darwin's Paradox, The Midnight Walk, Hell Is Us. So, I mean, they showed off a lot of games that in here, and these are possibly new games in the franchise, so I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just don't immediately trust them out here with some of these video games. But it seems like a lot of stuff. It seems like they're kind of going back to some more single-player stuff. Not a lot of multiplayer stuff shown off in this Sony State of Play. So, maybe some new stabs at it. Maybe some new franchises going to get it established here. Maybe these are some old franchises getting rekindled. But a lot of games shown in this show. A lot of games shown in the show, but things I'm not immediately familiar with. So I highlighted everything I thought was super interesting. And I would say go watch the Sony State of Play on YouTube if you'd like to go catch up on all the games show. I'm sure there's something in there that you find interesting that I don't, and you might not want to miss it. So Sony State of Play out there now. I think we're supposed to get another Sony show over the summer of some kind, and I will definitely be interested in that, and I will keep you up to date on that on the Dep Lewis Show as always. So thank you to Sony for showing off the video games. Definitely think there's some cool stuff there, but I would like to see some more kind of first-party stuff. And hopefully we will in the future. And I'm sure we will in the future. But what else is going on around the video game world? So Elden Ring Nightreign is an upcoming video game. The release date, I believe this is new news, has been announced for May 30th, 2025. It's coming out for PS5 and 4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows. The developer from Software Inc. This game is going to be $39.99 US for the standard edition. So I found that interesting and was not aware that this is not going to be a full price game. So I don't know if that, I guess that does speak to the scale of the game or the nature of the game. And I think this one really is more of a cooperative thing. There's been a network test going on this past weekend. It was something you had to fill out a request form for and be selected. And I don't know what the general consensus is. I think I heard, I read online that people were calling it like a battle royale or a PvE experience kind of thing. I guess the battle royale connection is from like dropping in on the map. I think you can fly in on a dragon kind of thing. And I don't know how warm the reception was to this, because I really don't know. But this Elden Ring Nightreign is going to be a standalone adventure within the Elden Ring universe, crafted to offer players a new gaming experience by reimagining the game's core design. Join forces with other players to take on the creeping night and the dangers within, featuring 3-player co-op. So this might just be a game in the category for me that is just something I'm not a co-op game player these days, and this isn't something that's going to get me excited to play. And maybe this is going to be an outstanding, successful video game that's just going to be one that's not, aligned with my video game taste or something at the moment. But Elden Ring Nightreign is coming out on May 30th, 2025. A video game that is coming out in just a few days. Excuse me, if you're listening in real time, it comes out on February 18th, 2025, and that is Avowed. And if you were mistaken like me, you would have thought this video game was already released. I was seeing all the reviews and even people playing it out there on the internet, but this is another one where you can pay to play early. So you can buy that premium edition for $89.99 USDs for advanced access is what they're calling it here. You can wait and pay $69.99 US for the standard edition, and I believe I guess if you're a Game Pass subscriber, I don't think you're getting to play the premium edition. I think if you're a Game Pass subscriber, you're waiting until the 18th, but you can also play this on Game Pass day one if you are a top tier Game Pass subscriber, is what I believe it is. So Avowed, this releases, I said February 18th. It's coming out for Xbox Series XS, GeForce Now, which I'm not all the way familiar with that, but I see it kind of often, and Microsoft Windows. The developer is Obsidian Entertainment, publisher Xbox Game Studios. From some of the footage of this I watched, the UI and things like that definitely look like Obsidian, and I mean that in a good way. And the back of the box talk for this is: welcome to the Living Lands, a mysterious island filled with adventure and danger. Can you save the island and your soul from the forces threatening to tear them apart? So I think the initial look at this is going to have some resemblance to like a Skyrim game, to an Elder Scrolls game. I mean, Skyrim, Oblivion, Morrowind, those kind of games. And I think they're saying it's a smaller game, so not generally the scope of an Elder Scrolls, but they're saying it's a smaller version that's done extremely well. So I think that's pretty cool. I don't know if this is something that I'm immediately going to jump into, but I think it's an interesting thing. Elder Scrolls is one of my favorite franchises of all time. I don't know which one of those games is my favorite if I had to pick one. Morrowind was the first one I played and was a classic video game to me, and Oblivion as well, and then even Skyrim. I mean, it really is a hard decision of which one I like the best, and having the comparison to that is enticing. And this is a game I could see myself playing at some point. So I think the Avowed hype meter for myself has been going up a little bit from seeing some of the stuff. And I like that they're saying it's a smaller game, smaller experience. I don't know if they're saying that, but that's kind of what the consensus is out there on the internet, that this isn't like a 100-hour game to complete, I don't think. But it seems very interesting. And then Avowed is available right now if you want to pay the extra money, which you probably should not. But it fully releases on the 18th of February, Avowed. So the last bit of information, the last thing I want to say for this slot is Nintendo Switch 2 rumors. So I really don't have anything from the past week to talk about that's new on the Nintendo Switch 2 rumors front. So nothing really new to report, no new news or gossip that I've seen. We're really just looking forward to the upcoming Nintendo Direct for the Nintendo Switch 2, which is going to take place on Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025 at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States of America. So that is a couple months off. I'm sure we're going to have some type of leaks or rumors, or I don't know. We're going to have something good before then, but maybe not a whole lot. So I'm just going to hold this as a space for Nintendo Switch 2 rumors each week to talk about, because I am excited for the Nintendo Switch 2, and I'm sure you out there in the world are excited too. So that's all the video game news and information I have for you this week. We talked about the Sony State of Play, including games like Metal Gear Solid, Delta Snake Eater, Borderlands 4, Shinobi Art of Vengeance, Saros, I hope how you pronounce that, and the Days Gone Remastered, and a bunch of other games from the Sony State of Play as well. We also talked about Elden Ring, Nightreign, Avowed, and we talked about not a lot of Nintendo Switch 2 rumors from last week, but we are going to hold space for Nintendo Switch 2 rumors until it happens. So that's everything I have for you this week in the mid-section of the show. That's all the video game information you need to know. And I'll be back next week in this particular section to tell you everything you need to know again. So, thank you for listening to all the video game talk this week. But we still have one final section of the show. We're going to hear some music, and we're going to come back for the Miscellaneous talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So, you don't want to miss it. Come listen to my sports fandom and what I think about all my favorite teams in the past week. So come right back after this music for the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 116. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 116. This is the Miscellaneous talk section where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So I want to get into the worldwide world of sports today, as always, and tell you what's going on with my favorite teams. And this is a very light week for all of my sports teams, pretty much. So the Carolina Panthers start with the NFL. We're just waiting for 2025. I'm hoping for a J.C. Horn extension is the thing I want to happen there. I think they should pay him to stick around, and they should pay him a handsome sum, because he is an outstanding corner. He was healthy for the majority of last season, and he is one of the guys that they need to build around on the defense and keep him around town through this Bryce Young era that everyone's excited for now. But the Panthers will pick 8th overall in the 2025 draft, and that is the news on the Carolina Panthers. Last weekend we had the Super Bowl. The Eagles won against the Kansas City Chiefs. They won 40-22. So I think it was a pretty underwhelming Super Bowl. It was not very close at all. Kansas City, it took them a while to even score some points, and the Eagles were playing backups late in the game. So a really disappointing Super Bowl, not competitive at all. But I guess good for the Eagles fans out there in the world. The Eagles are the champions of the NFL. So congratulations to the Eagles, and just waiting for next year for some more football. So we're all in the long winter begins. Our watch begins for the off season for the NFL, and we're all kind of looking forward to the draft, I guess, is the next move. So NFL, thank you for a great season. It's always fun to watch. Carolina Panthers did a little bit of exciting things there at the end of the season and have some Bryce Young hope and hype. And I hope they pay J.C. Horn, and I'm excited for Derrick Brown to be back healthy and see what other moves the Panthers are going to make, including the draft. So, go NFL and go Panthers. All right, for the basketball, the NBA, my favorite team's there. My pseudo favorite NBA team since I live in North Carolina. I'm a fan of the Charlotte Hornets now. Last Sunday they played at Detroit. The Hornets lost 102-112. Monday at Brooklyn, the Hornets lost 89-97. Wednesday at Orlando, the Hornets lost 86-102. So the Hornets have been doing a lot of losing this season, and they are continuing to do so into the All-Star break. So the All-Star break has been going on this weekend. I have not really seen too much from the All-Star break. I just don't really find it too interesting these days. Max McClung won the dunk contest the third time in a row. And then I think I saw that he made more money in the dunk contest than he has in his career this far. So a really big move for him in his pockets as well. So that's nice to see, or nice to hear. The only other bit of news I saw from the All-Star weekend so far has been that CP3 and Wemby got disqualified from the skills challenge for shooting shots inappropriately. So they had one leg in the kind of like skills challenge relay was to make a shot, or if you miss three, then you can move on. So they just got up there each and they just threw the ball to the side basically 3 times really, really quick and moved on. So it saved them some time, and they both did it to improve the time, and then they got disqualified right after that. So that was the big hoopla there. And nothing, that just All-Star weekend going on. So it's been kind of a whole weekend break from basketball for me. So that was the Hornets results. And I think last week on the show I mentioned some of these upcoming games that were not correct. So, I apologize for getting some of the last week's schedule stuff, but it was the All-Star break in there that I did not take into consideration. But the Hawks, in their last week, my favorite NBA team, the Atlanta Hawks, who have been underperforming as well. Last Monday at Orlando, the Hawks won 112-106. Wednesday at the Knicks, the Hawks lost 148-149 in OT. And then the rest of the week has been the All-Star break for the Hawks. Next week, the Hawks have Orlando and Detroit. And then next week, the Hornets have the Lakers, Denver, and Portland. So there isn't a Hornets games on Wednesday, and the Hawks start back on Thursday. So still a couple more days of a break from the NBA. And I guess that is good for the NBA players and their families and their friends, and all the people involved in those franchises could probably use a break here at the midway of the season. And it seems like the Charlotte Hornets and the Atlanta Hawks can all kind of take a break, because I don't know if either one of those teams have playoff hopes, which is sad. Another team, one of my favorite teams, Atlanta Braves. I guess some of them are back to camp. I saw KK Strider throwing some pitches. I think spring training officially begins on February 22nd. So that is, I guess, in the upcoming weeks. So that's pretty exciting. The first game of the regular season for the Braves is at the Padres March 27th. So that is one of the days on my calendar that is circled, and I'm extremely excited for. And we are almost just a month away from that. So baseball season, one of the most wonderful times of the year, the best sport in the entire world. And I cannot wait to watch the Atlanta Braves and hope that they're all going to be healthy to start the season and really, really get rolling in a great fashion early on in the year. So, go Atlanta Braves, go baseball. The only bit of baseball news free agency-wise I have for you is not Braves-related, but Alex Bregman from the Astros has signed to the Red Sox. 3 years, $120 million for the 30-year-old third baseman. Or is he going to be a second baseman? I think that is unclear a little bit here as he joins the Red Sox, but a good move here by the Red Sox. I think they've had a pretty nice offseason, and now they have Alex Bregman coming to the squad. They already have Rafael Devers playing third base, so I think the tea leaves here are reading that Bregman is going to go to second base, and just a very, a savvy veteran, a great bat, great fielder, and a great addition, I guess, for the Red Sox. So, congratulations to the Red Sox fans making a splash and signing Alex Bregman. And that is all the sports talk I have for you this week. I think that is everything. I don't really have too much to watch today. There's no football, so that's sad. No baseball going on. There's no basketball really to watch, unless you want to watch All-Star stuff later on today. So a good day to play some video games, or, just do some normal life stuff. So, that's going to be it. And that's it for the Miscellaneous Talk section of the show. We talked about all my favorite teams, the Carolina Panthers. We talked about the Hornets, the Hawks, and the Braves. And that is going to wrap up the entire show. So just thank you for being a Dep Lewis Show listener. I want to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. Find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. Twitch.tv/Dep Lewis Show is a great place to follow. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, Patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available. If you'd like to subscribe monthly, also Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. And just thank you for being a listener. I'm trying to think. Hope you have a great week out there in the world. Hope you have some fun. Hope you get to play some video games. I hope if you have tomorrow off for President's Day in the United States that you have a good day off. I hope the weather gets nicer. Hope the sun comes out. I hope, I hope you have a great week out there. Thank you for being a Dep Lewis Show listener. I will be back next week as always. Check me out on twitch.tv/Dep Lewis Show. That's something I'm trying to get started going here. So the plan there, none of this is a firm commitment. I'm trying to get myself on schedule, but I'm going to have I'm going to hope to have one weekday night. I'm going to play some video games, and then I'm going to be streaming some other random time. So really, if you want to put notifications on, I know it's kind of not something I even like to do, but for now, I think that's going to be a good way to be in tune with when I'm streaming, and I'll definitely announce it on social media and stuff. But, any night during the week is possible, and then weekends are kind of free reign too. I like to get the podcast out Sunday morning, but Saturday and Sunday afternoon and evenings should have some free time. So I'm going to try to pick one night to be consistent with, and then have some other random streams throughout the week just whenever I'm feeling like it. So look out for me on the internet and look for the Dep Lewis Show every week on Sunday like you just listened to. And just thank you so much. And have a great week out there in the world. And I will see you next week for another episode of Dep Lewis Show. Goodbye.